Hot Rock Singles Chart, peaked at 54 on Billboard Hot 100 in 95. Woo! Give it up for the good brother. Man, that's a wonderful accomplishment.
Yeah, it was good, but the hip hop numbers on the charts kind of shot up. So, relative to what, artists started doing shortly thereafter, as small numbers, small numbers.
Well, I always like to say this. The thing about being accomplished or having any form of accomplishment is that it's not easy. So many people around the world have the tendency, especially, my generation, we are the social media, Lux lifestyle generation. We just have this idea that everything comes easy, and that's not true. Everything doesn't come easy. It doesn't come fast. It doesn't come quick. So I appreciate anybody who has accomplished anything that they set in their mind and they have achieved it, because I never consider it to be easy.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I don't know if you guys are in, but I just want to know where you're from. Please drop your name, where you're from, and we are here to discuss politics. This is one subject matter that Black folks fall out over every year. Every 4 years around November, and that is, who are you voting for? People want to know who you're voting for, who you're not voting for, if you love them, what side of history you'll be on. And I will say, over some time now, we literally have we've had some historical elections. We had Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, which is, the first time, I believe, a woman had the Democratic ticket, or she was fighting for the Democratic ticket. She didn't quite get it.
No, she won the Democratic ticket, but she took that L in the face off with Donald Trump.
Yeah, she did. So they're trying again. They have another woman. This is the historical election. We have another woman who's running to be the president of the United States. Wow, this is historical. Regardless of your political stance, regardless of how you feel about the woman, she is still liable to make history in the next couple of months. Well, can we just say, I want to ask you this. Round of applause. But let me ask you this. Did you ever think that you would see a Black woman? Well, we'll talk about, is she Black yet? But did you ever think you'll see a woman run seriously on the ticket to become the president of the United States?
Wow. I was skeptical. I guess considering a Black man won the presidency in 2008 and then again in 2012, should have given us the signal of the possibilities. But I was skeptical. But then I saw a piece about the guy they call George Bush's brain. What is his name? He's a political consultant, big high. What is his name? Oh my gosh, I should have this information readily available. It'll come to me. But I guess he had noticed Kamala's strength back in 2012. And he had warned, his Republicans, his like, we got to watch out for her and do anything we can to derail her bid for the attorney general, because when she gets her legs up under her, she's going to be a problem. And lo and behold, she's a problem.
She's a problem. She's a thorn in a lot of people's side. A lot of times, I played basketball when I was in high school, and I also played basketball in college. So I will say that a secret weapon. Is Kamala Harris the secret weapon for the Democratic Party right now?
So, I got a long history that I would like to go through in terms of how I got to my present political stances.
Let's go for it.
So, I've been pretty much anti-politics, anti-government, anti-system, anti-establishment. I come up under the school of KRS-One. We ain't really about it like that when it comes to politics. I'm the conspiracy theory Don Dada. I'm the conspiracy theory Don Dada. Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
Hold on 1 second.
I'm with you. All right. Somebody says, Tiana, you said, so put her in office for this reason. No, we're going to have this conversation. Don't go too far ahead. We're going to have this conversation about the political stance of 2024 and give everybody a chance to have input and insight. So my brother, he put me on hold. So let me just say this. This conversation is for us to have dialogue. How I feel, how my brother feels, you'll find out more and more as we have the discussion. But the reality is, it's a historical moment. And it's happening no matter if we want to contribute or not, no matter if we are in on it or not. History is happening. Yeah. Okay, I want to let me know. You were saying basically from your stance.
I'm the conspiracy theory Don Dada, right? I'm the, from 1989, 1990, I'm like, Illuminati, deep state, all that, like early. I'm behold the pale horse. I'm, ruled by secrecy. I'm trilateral commission. I'm David Icke all day. I'm all that,
Yeah.
Looking at, the crime bill and the Democrats and them being a tool to keep black people in a particular, was all that, right? And then some things happened. So when Barack Obama was running in 2008, I wasn't rocking with that at all. I thought, they were using the black man to usher in the Illuminati. And how they're going to do it is they're going to force everybody to get health insurance, and they were going to chip us all with health insurance, right? And then my fiance, now my wife, and my mom was like, boy, you bugging. You 40-something years old at the time. You better get some health insurance. Now that we actually have health insurance, Affordable Care Act allowed poor people and lower middle class people to have access to health insurance. You better sign up. So after they twist my arm real heavy, they got me to sign up for it. 3 months after I signed up, I broke my hand. I have a condition that affects my hands. I had to have my hand fused to my wrist. I had to have over $100,000 worth of surgeries. And thanks to Obamacare and the fact that I lived in a blue state, New York, I got like the best care. I had the best surgeon. They were actually able to save the use of my left hand. Wow. Without Obamacare, I wouldn't have use of my left hand. Right? And then in 2010, a little prior to Barack, a little after he won the first election, I went back to Newark, New Jersey, and we created 24 Hours of Peace with now the Honorable Mayor Ras Baraka, who's the mayor of Newark, New Jersey. He was the Southward Councilman, principal at Central High School at the time, old friend of mine from grade school and high school, son of Amiri Baraka, senior, poet laureate, radical, militant, progressive. His son, along with other organizations and a coalition of folks, organized Black Norkers to make sure Black Norkers could take control of City Hall. Cory Booker was the mayor prior to Raz. He left to be senator. Him and Raz at that point were kind of at odds with each other. Raz is the outsider. He's the militant, the radical. Cory Booker is more of the establishment Democrat. The establishment Democrats of Essex County, New Jersey, wanted somebody else to take the mayorship. But Raz, through organizing Black people on the local level, became the mayor, and now he's a 3-term mayor. We started 24 Hours of Peace in 2010, and I sent you the video, and you see how big 24 Hours of Peace has gotten. That is funded by the Office of Violence Prevention and Trauma Recovery, which works at a $20 million annual budget. We do the concert, of course, but we do more important work like social outreach, jobs, education, trauma relief. It's a whole bunch of things that go on year-round through the Office of Violence Prevention and the Brick City Peace Collective, which also works at a $2 to $3 million annual budget. Now, these are dollars controlled by Black people. These are dollars that go in, Black and brown people, that go to support the needs of Black and brown people. So what that showed me was that local politics is where it's at. But if we don't have a through line to the federal, state, county levels, we get thwarted with the things that we have to do. Right now, Biden, I got my mind right. I voted for Hillary. She caught that L. Trump was the president. Got 3 Supreme Court justices in. Reverse affirmative action. Reverse women's right to reproductive health. My wife and I, we were expecting a baby. This was back in 2014, right? And unfortunately, we weren't able to have one. My wife couldn't carry, right? We didn't have insurance. This was before Obamacare. We had to use Planned Parenthood in order for her to get the DNC. Now, we all know the DNC, the young lady in Georgia who wasn't able to get the DNC because the laws have changed, and she ended up dying, right? My wife would have been in that same predicament if there was no Planned Parenthood, and or if they would have abolished abortion, because essentially that's what a DNC is. It's an abortion, even though the baby had died within in my wife's womb, right? Without access to that care, we would have been in serious trouble. My wife's student loan was forgiven in 2022. We bought our first house last year.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's great.
Because it freed up 21 grand and we were able to do some things and purchase our first house. So like there's a number of things that have happened under the leadership of a Democratic president coupled with, you know, a majority in the Congress that would not have happened otherwise. Now, with Biden doing a bunch of different things that we'll touch on later, I would like to see that expanded and strengthened. I would not like to see that gutted. And I think Kamala is going to be able to expand a lot of the things that we just talked about. Well, I just talked about.
Okay, well, I'm going to talk about some things too. Well, number one, I would just like to say, if you are new here, welcome to Fly Nubian Queen TV. I'm here with my brother Hakeem Green, and he's just been his relationship with the Democratic Party and some of his personal story with him and his family. What I would like to say is I don't care for Planned Parenthood. I personally believe that Planned Parenthood is in too many urban communities. And oftentimes Planned Parenthood is ushering young Black women to have abortion, while I don't see the Planned Parenthood in the, you know, white communities ushering young white girls to have abortions. I don't even want to get into some of the historical aspect of Planned Parenthood, because when you start thinking about what this lady Margaret had in mind,
Sanger, excuse me.
Yeah, when you start having the thought process behind Sanger and what she had in mind, it's too vile. It's too. You can't even think on a normal level and think that people have the ability to do these kinds of things, you know, in a format of, like, think about this. Like, you are a man who has multiple businesses and have a life. You don't, not one day of your life do you think, how can I harm one demographic? You never think that. So this is why I personally have these grievances. I have grievances with the political infrastructure of America. And it's not because of my personal, it's not because I personally graduated from college. It's not because I personally became a homeowner, because I did. I bought a home by my, you know, I'm not married. I'm single. As far as I'm unmarried. So like I did these things very, very through all the different challenges.
Well, the thing, not to defend Planned Parenthood, because I understand where you're coming from. I know the history of Margaret Sanger and what's the term I'm looking for? The extermination of Black people through, you know, getting them to abort themselves, abort babies, right? I get that. I understand that, no doubt. But what I learned, the current state of Planned Parenthood as it is, abortion is actually one of the one of the few things that, like, there's so many other things that Planned Parenthood does
that they provide. I understand.
Provide, right? And with lack of a strong, vibrant healthcare system, right, at the time, Planned Parenthood was our only option for this particular procedure. And if not for that access, my wife might not be here right now.
Absolutely. And first of all, I want you to know that anytime that I'm having some thought process that is, it's not a personal, it's not my personal thought process towards your personal story. That's one. I just want to make sure that's clear. I'm very grateful that for you and your wife.
Totally understandable, right? And I respect that, right? But my wife is one of many hundreds of thousands of women who find themselves in that predicament where they want to have children. They want to bring the fetus to term and have a baby. But for
let me ask you this.
Things don't happen, and they need certain services that they'd only be able to get through Planned Parenthood because the powers that be don't want to extend healthcare services to Black and brown poor people.
Okay, let me also ask you, we know that historically we have Black women in particular have a very challenging relationship with the healthcare system. When it comes to pain, statistically, they say that Black women can endure more pain than other races.
Black people, yeah, they do that.
They also say that recently, Black women have the highest rate of pregnancy, trying to deliver babies, and the death rate behind it. We have the highest.
It's the highest.
Yeah, and not to mention, recently they said that they had been giving women C-sections to fill up operating in surgery rooms, not because it's a necessity. I just want to highlight that regardless of some of the benefits that has come with voting for a particular party, to me, it feels like it doesn't expand wide enough to everyone. And I could, this is just my perspective. This is not everyone's perspective. And we can get more people to chime in about the healthcare system. But let me just tell you something. Let me not pretend as if, I haven't had to go to the hospital, that I haven't had to, have a something surgical or to be seen by a doctor, that I didn't need professional care here in America, and have some sense of gratitude that we do have the level of the process that our doctors have to go to become doctors. Yeah, I'm grateful for some of that. I'm grateful for a lot of that. But like I said, when it just comes to the healthcare portion, so let's just say this right here. You do value the healthcare side of just even some of the political stance of the Democratic Party and what it's been able to, pass through your personal life, as well as you've seen on the ground. You've been doing things on the ground from the beginning. You've seen what having some dollars poured and back into the community can do, even from a personal lens. Mm-hmm. Okay, I want to ask you this question here. Even when you think about how expensive our healthcare is, it's expensive. Sorry, I get excited about these kind of conversations because I feel like
because the pharmaceuticals companies,
yes,
have a lot. They have huge lobbies that they lobby our government to make sure that they can get the most out of us and the most from us, and deny access to the majority of us because America, the American ideal, especially with the conservatives, is small government, right? And as the brilliant Dr. Claude Anderson has shown us, that every advance that Black people have made was with the help of the federal government.
That's so true. So let me ask you this current advancement that is next, what's going to be next on the agenda? Let me ask you this question here, because I feel like I definitely know that we are communicators and we'll talk.
But just because to the point of healthcare, right? And having the federal government via Barack Obama, Joe Biden, and now Kamala Harris, um, lobby on behalf of poor and middle class Americans to make sure we have access to health care. I think that's a very important policy stance. And that's not something that we need to turn. I'm 55. The closer I get to 70, 75, 80, especially without children, I'm going to need a strong, vibrant healthcare system, folks who are well trained, and of the right mind to help me into my my old age, and I would hate to see that healthcare system gutted because I don't have financial access, or I'm not privileged, or I don't have the family behind me to make sure that I'm taken care of. I want to make sure that we invest in a strong, vibrant healthcare system and everybody has access to that. That's not something to be, just take for granted. A lot of folks, younger folks, don't see the importance of it because you're 20, you're 30, you think you're gonna live forever. But the closer you come to your own mortality, the more important healthcare is going to be to you. So we don't want to lose sight of that.
I don't, but I also want to say this: based on what's current, the Social Security is diminishing and will no longer exist for my generation, and it's going to be one of those situations where.
Why do you think that? Why do you think that?
Well, it's gone. The Social Security is gone.
No, it's not. That's a lie.
Reports are saying that by the time that the generation of the 80s becomes 70 years of age, there will be no Social Security.
Right. So Social Security is paid into. It's not an entitlement. It's something that we all pay into. Right. And see, I'm under the premise that, right, the super rich capitalists are super rich capitalists because they exploit people, land, water, air, resources. They're exploiting it, right? In that they make all of this money, they're also causing a lot of disease.
Correct.
Cancer rates go up. You poison the land and the food. You're poisoning the air. You're, with no regulation, you're making these products that are, chemically not suitable for human consumption, human, breathing in. So you're causing all of these issues. All right, well, if you're going to make this money, we need to tax you so you can pay into Social Security. You need to invest back into the society that you're actually destroying, which enables you to become this rich mega millionaire, billionaire, and that there's ways that we can tax these billionaires and ultra millionaires in a way where they still wouldn't feel it, but it invests in society. They invest in the most important resource, which is human resource. They don't want to do that because then that would add to true competition. If you invest into people, now people have the wherewithal, they have the mental and physical health, they have the knowledge, they have the education to now compete with these millionaires and billionaires. And that's not what they want. So the idea that Social Security is being depleted is a strategy that the super rich push on us so we give up on Social Security. Social Security doesn't have to be depleted. It doesn't have to go anywhere. We shouldn't have to work towards 75 and 80, which is the Republicans' plan, J.D. Vance. Like, we shouldn't have to work towards 75, 80 to get the Social Security that we've paid into already.
Mm-hmm. So the thing is, can we trust our government to have our best interests at heart? We don't have a government. We don't have.
Can we trust ourselves to have our best interests at heart?
Absolutely not. You cannot
trust ourselves.
No, you can't trust. Let me tell you. No, you can trust me, but everybody don't come with my mindset. Everybody don't come with the idea that we have to operate in some sense of togetherness. That's number one. Number two, where is trust when you have a society? Somebody got an 18-year-old that'll knock you upside the head for an iPhone. The reality is the American people are not in a position to walk around. They're not esteemed about what's happening in the next 40 years. I mean, we're literally, it's the rich versus the poor. The middle class is becoming extinct. I'm a person who made six figures, and then when you make six figures, you got to pay 30% of your income no matter what. And then after you do that, you got your high student loan debt that you got to pay. Sometimes you get it forgiven, sometimes you do not. I don't have children, but supposedly my money go to the education system. But then there's a report that says over 30% of the people, over 30+% of the children in high school can't read grade level. So it's like, do you think parents are truly invested in the well-being of their children over being invested and trying to make sure that they can provide food on the table? So the game is always we're always playing the game. This is one of the reasons that I struggle with believing anybody politically, is because we're on the hamster wheel. We're the ones that's always, trying. We're trying. They say, oh, okay, you got to do this. You want to make a good living, go to college, get yourself an education. You get the education, and then they say, oh shit, it's going to be you out of them other 10 people that want this managerial position. And then, even in the industry that you're in, I know that it's very different in the music industry, but I can guarantee you 100%, you've been in millions of, maybe not millions, but tons of meetings with people where you got something positive to say, something positive to put out into the world, and they gave you the most challenging time. If you was talking a whole different message, there's a yes, that's a stamp for that. If you was talking about killing brothers, we can provide you with a lot of money. But if you're talking about uplifting brothers, hey, we ain't got the budget for that. When you have, but who are the people that's coming to support?
So to that point, because I agree with you. I agree with that. What you just said is spot on, right? But you have to have enough security and wherewithal within yourself to push forward. Right, that you can't give up and just throw your hands up, because then they win, right? So when we see what's going on right now with our, we have certain people in the media right now who are at the pinnacle of the game, and I've done business with these people, right? Not this particular person, but I've been done wrong by some of your favorite folks, along the lines of what you just detailed, because my message wasn't the end thing, right?
Yeah.
But however, in 2010, I go back to Newark, New Jersey. I have a series of programs that I developed under the Stop the Violence movement with KRS-One. I want to find a home for them. Raz Baraka, who I grew up with, I know his pedigree. I know where he comes from as Central High School, principal at Central High School. I'm like, Raz, I have these programs. He says, go to IYO, the International Youth Organization, which is a community center created in the late 60s during the civil rights era, right? So you go there. We start running these programs for free. There's no money involved. We were doing it because it had to be done. We come up with the idea to do 24 hours of peace following the Newark Anti-Violence Coalition. You know how they say Black people always protest police brutality, but they never protest Black-on-Black crime? That's a lie. We already know Black-on-Black crime is a misnomer. There's some BS. We shouldn't even use the term. But just for the sake of the point, for 5.5 years straight, the Newark Anti-Violence Coalition protested Black-on-Black crime, gang violence, murders. We hit the block, lock it down, shut down the intersection for 4 or 5 hours. We out in the street calling out the gangbangers, calling out the drug dealers, calling out the people who are doing all the mischief in the community to step their game up and be better. But sometimes, especially September, October, November rolls around, it gets dark early, people driving home from work, you got the kids in the car, 4:30, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and you hit a protest. Now you're stuck in traffic for 4 hours. People get out the car. Why y'all blocking? I'm trying to go home. You holding me up. They start arguing with the protesters. We out there going, we need peace. Stop the violence. Peace now. Hey, get out the way. We don't get it. Right? So police get involved. Like, yo, how can we change this around? Let's put hip hop on the block. Let's create a stage, get some artists, some activists, entertainers, culture workers, and get the community engaged. Now, from 2010, bringing out maybe 200, 300, 400 people, to now it's 2024, we get 20,000 people to come out over a 24-hour period. our concert festival is one of the largest festivals in the state of New Jersey. That's me and us not listening to what the industry told us. That's us sticking true to the foundation of who we are and doing the work, whether there was a check involved or not. If you're not going to have that type of commitment, then you don't deserve success. If we're going to go, we can't because they won't let us, you don't deserve success.
Well, the one thing I want to know is, because I want us to
establishment Negroes getting away.
Yeah, but the one thing that I do want to know is, because I want us to try to chime in to this political thing that we're in right now, the 2024 election, right? So people are saying that people ask the question, is Kamala Harris Black? And so my question is, does it matter?
Nope, because if Kamala Harris wasn't the Attorney General of state of California, if she wasn't Congresswoman, what was she before? VP. She's VP. She's not VP Kamala Harris, and she gets out the car because the police pull over. She Black. To them, if you're not white, then you Black. You can be Puerto Rican. You can be Dominican. You can be Cuban. You could be Indian. You could be like, she's darker than me. I'm Black. Blackness is about not just about skin color. It's about phenotype. You look at her nose, you look at her lips, you look at her cheekbones, you look at her jawline. When you know who the Dravidians of India are, and we know about the caste system in India, we know about Hinduism, we know they have their color-coded caste system. We get that. But we also know that the original people of India are Black people. The Indus Kush Valley region extended from India all the way over to West Africa. Black people populated the entire planet before there was one white person. So if you're not white, you are Black. And if we don't understand that and unite along those lines, we're going to be through. So, yeah, she a Black woman to me.
Okay.
Her father's a Black Jamaican. She Black. Stop it, y'all.
The one thing that I would like to say is, I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. You said, I couldn't hear you.
He said Ethiopia. Exactly.
So the one thing that I like to say is, I don't like to play that race game, or I don't like to play that game. You know, back in the day, it was the one drop rule. That means if you had one drop of Black blood, you were Black. That's how they used to classify Black back in the day. But then it becomes convenient, you know, where they say, well, I don't know, she can pass for this and that. I don't care. One drop rule. This is what America says. This is why you cannot let this country determine and decide all of your identity, everything that you're supposed to know. Because back in the day, it was the one drop rule. One drop of Black blood of African descent, you were considered Black. There was no exception, you know. So whatever. I also would like to say that
I see you got the wonderful women of the MGT behind you.
You know,
yeah.
I'm not Muslim. You
know, my mother's former MGT. We came up out of the nation, Mosque number 25 in Newark, New Jersey.
Okay.
Is the Asiatic Black man Black? Isn't India in Asia?
Yeah, but here's another thing that I want to ask you. I want to ask you something else too about this, which is I personally believe that the Democratic Party don't deserve the Black vote. No party does. I don't believe the Democratic Party deserved the Black vote. I don't think that the Republican Party deserved the Black vote. I think Black unity is in theory more than it is in practice. And the reason that I don't think that they deserve the Black vote is because, you know, we often, very frequently get not just overlooked, but we keep on next time, next go round. Everything about Jim Crow had this great intentionality to move white people forward. Everything about the New Deal was in place to move white people forward. But every presidential election, it's always for everybody else. We need specific attention. We need specific dollars. Barack Obama gave the Jewish community He gave the Jewish senior citizens reparations. He didn't give them a whole lot of money, but he gave their cause. He said, if you are a Jewish senior citizen who makes under a certain amount of money, then you will receive some form of reparations. You can go XYZ. You know how reparations work. Excuse me? You mean to tell me our grandparents, the ones that was rolling if they were in a wheelchair, the ones that used their walkers, the ones that used their canes to go and vote for you out of just pure excitement, you couldn't acknowledge them? In the Black community, we have financial despair. It's a lot of people that have money, but it's a lot of people who do not. Our money, the Black tax, our money is being stretched to everybody that don't have a job. Everybody who couldn't make it, money is being stretched. The person who got the good job in the family is sharing amongst a lot of people in the family. So sometimes our 6 figures don't even go as long or as far as others. So I believe that the Democratic Party hasn't given the African American community or the Black community, whatever you like to identify as, the quality attention that it is required. You can't group our needs up with everybody else and then have these specific things that's ruining our communities directly. For one, I'm gonna let you speak, but education. Do you know how challenging if a young Black boy at the age of, let's just say 7th, 8th grade, say for instance, he's just a regular young Black boy. He's not overachieved, not underachieved. He get decent grades, read the reports that he's supposed to, may go to college, may not. But the reality is the accessibility to things don't add up. The accessibility to getting weed and all that other stuff, running the streets, that's easy. If he live in an urban community, the accessibility to demise is very easy. The accessibility to all the other things that's going to be advancing to him, that's very challenging. And that's why I'm just really, I can't get behind a group that refuse to acknowledge or willing to reverse the things that's been done to Black people.
Mm-hmm. So I saw you put up a post last week about them apologizing for the crime bill, right? and then I sent you a link, I think, or I might have copied and pasted and put in the comments of Joe Biden apologizing for the crime bill and then pointing to specific programs that he had under his administration to try to reverse some of those things. Is it enough? Hell no, right? The other thing that you said about deserving, what I learned in my days in the music business is you never get what you deserve. You get what you negotiate, right? And negotiation is all about leverage, right? Republican Party, Democratic Party, Green Party, whatever you're doing, how can you leverage the channels of power to affect change in your local community? Because at the end of the day, all politics are local, right? Mm-hmm. So Newark, as an example, East Orange, Newark, as an example, these cities are run and have been run by Democrats. The current mayor in Newark is a Democrat. The senator from that district, Cory Booker, former mayor, is a Democrat. The current congresswoman, LaMonica McIver, who was the Central Ward councilwoman up until last month, she just became Congresswoman McIver. She was raised by Ras Baraka. He was her 5th grade teacher. He's been grooming her in politics since she was in the 5th grade. She's now the Congresswoman from that district. Do It All Kelly, current and former member of Lords of the Underground, is the West Ward city councilman. Ras Baraka is a Howard alum. Co-founder of 24 Hours Apiece is Amiri Baraka Jr., his brother and chief of staff. He's a Howard alum. The vice president is a Howard alum. The vice president has an anti-gun violence initiative running out of the White House. we have gun violence initiatives being supported by this current White House. We recently got a phone call from her office specifically asking what policy positions should she take to specifically benefit Black men. This is something that just came down the pike a week and a half ago. So now we're strategizing ways that we can give her this information. These are some specific things that you need to touch on related to Black men. Of course, we know that she's dealing with women's issues, and hopefully she's really hammering down on Black women's issues, but we need to have leverage, not that they owe us something or we owe them anything. It's not that they deserve our vote. No, it's about what can we get to move the ball down the field to put ourselves in a better position to make decisions going forward. It's not there's no, all right, everything's good, it's heaven, everything's right, righteous, we're going to do this and everything's going to be hunky-dory. No, we got to keep the pressure on. We got to organize around our issues and what we want. Now, in terms of reparations, they're never going to give us reparations. We got to go take reparations. And how you take reparations is by creating laws that say we're going to give these people repair funds. Reparations means repair, right? We're going to, whether it's financial dollars, whether it's social services, whether it's educational opportunities, job opportunities, we have to do something specifically for this community who's been kept back for so long. But we're only going to do that when we force them to do it. They're not going to do it out of the kindness of their heart. They're not going to do it because they owe us something. They're not going to do it because, it's just the right thing to do. We have to put them up against the wall so they do it because we're doing it for ourselves, not because they're doing it, because we're in position to make something happen.
Is it time? Is now the time for reparations?
I think it's past time for reparations, but we have to put ourselves in position to take reparations. And reparations is not necessarily everybody gets a $500,000 check. It doesn't necessarily have to be that. It could be we're going to focus on particular communities and make sure we invest dollars, job opportunities, educational opportunities, social services. We're able to put programs in place that can systematically repair a people or bring a people up where a people should be. And we have to be willing participants in this. This can't be something that we're just sitting back, smoking blunts, waiting for the check to come. No, we have to be active in our own liberation. Like, we have to take the lead on our own liberation, and that's not just politics, that's economics. That's why I appreciate Brother Dr. Boyce Watkins, because he's focused on economics and financially how to empower ourselves so we're not dependent on a handout. Like, we got to stop thinking, they're going to give me something. No, we got to go take something. And they're going to give it to us.
Yes, but here's the thing. The idea that reparations will be a handout is not the case. We have tons of free labor that the reparations are going to,
in order, like when we talk about dispersing that much money, whether it's financial, direct cash, or is it programs, it's job creation, it's infrastructure, like whatever. When you're talking about, billions, trillions of dollars, laws have to be created around it. That happens in Congress. It doesn't. The president.
Let me ask you this.
That happens in Congress. So we have to make sure that we have the right people in the Congress and the Senate that represent what we want, and then we force the president to sign off on it because it makes sense. We've done the work to get it to that point. It ain't gonna happen just because we want reparations and Kamala's in office. That's not gonna happen.
I understand, but my thing is, if we talking about the climate of the political climate of America is predominantly, you have some politicians, not all, a lot of politicians that got the underhanded, the backdoor thing going on. They give the contracts to the people that give them some kickback. That's been going on for far too long. Therefore, progress. Some people been on the senator seat for so long, they're never moving because it's just is what it is. And I also would like
term limits in place.
Say that again. I can't hear you.
We need term limits in place.
I do like the idea of term limits. That's something that could be progressive
Joe
too.
Biden has been speaking to before. Joe Biden was heavily speaking about term limits in the last few months.
Yeah, because what's happening is people are getting there, they're staying comfortable, not to mention when you have so much money, you have the advertising budget and the marketing budget that some people that can come into the building really just don't have access to. So here's my thing, and here's my question to you. When you know we're dealing with such an underhanded system, how can we trust it? This is something that I want you to know. This is what I'm saying. Absolutely, don't trust it. So it's like I'm depending on the same governmental format that was responsible for slavery, the same governmental format that was responsible for Jim Crow, the same governmental format that was responsible for mass incarceration. For some kind of way, I think they have liberation within them.
No, I see. It's so first, our biggest weakness is our lack of organization.
Malcolm said that. He said they're not smarter than us. They out-organize us every time.
They out-organize us, right? And it's about leverage, right? If you can't leverage your power, you have no power, right? If you're not organized financially, militarily, politically, to make people bend to your will, then you're just at the whim of their desires. You're just a leaf in the wind, right? So until we collectively, whatever that we means, until we collectively get our thing together and organize in a way that forces our influence on people, then so if you're in a competition and you lose, it's not your enemy's fault you lost. It's your fault. Yeah, but they cheated. Yeah, but the rest was on their side. Yeah, but after so many years, you know that already. So if you're going to step up to the challenge and compete, you have to compete. You have to organize. You have to be accountable. You have to be responsible. You have to do what you say you're going to do. And if you're not going to do what you say you're going to do, we have to have the mechanisms in place to hold you accountable. If we don't have those mechanisms in place, that's on us. That's our fault. That's not their fault. Their fault. Their purpose and goal is to win. So their purpose and goal is not to make sure we win. So we got to stop thinking that they're going to do something for us, or if they don't do it, boo-hoo-hoo. No, we have to organize in a way that forces our will on people. If it's money, we need to make the money and organize the money and put the money in places that we show our. If African Americans, Black people, Moors, indigenous, whatever you want to call us, whatever we Negroes, colors, whatever we are today, collectively, we spend so much money, we would be the 5th or 6th largest nation on the face of the planet. Well, if we're just going to be consumers and we're going to take our dollars and send it out, that's on us. If we're not willing to organize ourselves and make sure those dollars get funneled back into our communities to build them up, that's on us. When we do that, we immediately level the playing field. We immediately dominate the playing field. But we got to get our own minds right. We have to stop expecting the Democratic Party or the Republican Party or the United States government or no, we have to put ourselves in a position to impose our will on these mechanisms. And if we're not going to do that, that's on us. Now, leverage is what can we get right now, right? Okay, what can we get right now? The country, Republicans, Democrats, they're disgusted with this dude. Everybody, except for his core base, they're disgusted with him. So how do we organize and use that momentum to enforce our will? Kamala is offering a $50,000 tax credit to small businesses. She's offering $25,000 first-time homeowner tax credit. She's offering $6,000 for your first child, and I think $3,000 for every child after that tax credit. Should it be more? Hell yeah, it should be more. Should we expect more? Hell yeah, we should. But give me that until we can force you to give me more. Don't play the all or nothing game. If 10 is on the table, do we deserve 10? Yeah, we deserve 10, but you're only gonna get 4. Let's take the 4 and figure out how to get to 6. Because if we take the 4, we might end up getting 7.
Mm-hmm.
Don't go, I can't have the whole 10, so I'm not participating. All right, because this dude right here don't want you to have nothing.
Mm-hmm. So the thing is, and we're gonna close out soon because we're at time. We're past time, but I do believe that we'll do this over and over again. I look forward to having more conversations with you because you have great insight. You come from a perspective that I don't always have, but I enjoy listening to your perspective. It's good and enlightening for sure. Let the people know exactly where they can find you.
Okay, on Instagram and Facebook, Hakeem Green, HAKIMGREEN, just like a spell right there. You can also catch me at 24 Hours of Peace. That's 24HRS of Peace Inc.com. Also get me at HakeemGreen.com. All we do is spark mad wisdom.
Mm-hmm. You got to have me on your sports show. When do you talk about things that that a Black woman can chime into? I know a little bit about sports too.
We talk about the WNBA.
Oh yeah, well that's
sure.
Good. I like
basketball. We get in. I don't know if you're a LeBron fan. He's the GOAT. You from Chi-Town, so you probably think Jordan is the GOAT, but that's all right. We'll forgive you this time.
Well, let me just say that I'm a LeBron James stan. I don't give too many people the hashitashi, but LeBron James gets the hashitashi. Like he definitely the GOAT for sure. No. Michael he had his time, but I don't think any athlete has done the on and off the court of LeBron James. So, he's the one on and off the court. Ladies and gentlemen, I really appreciate you.
One more thing before we go. Can I spit a rhyme? I'm an MC, so I like to spit rhymes.
Come on, spit. What you need? Go ahead, do your thing.
Something out of nothing, the culture grew from breaks. B-boys with fat laces helping DJs carry crates. 12 inches with the name covered up, 45s black with tape, needle dropping on the get down part on the one, never late. The moonwalk looked like skates, time is infinite like the 8, build to destroy the devil's world, God body at the gate. In God we trust, in dollars we lust, catching crumbs off the cake. Now we bop to a beat of walls of concrete in northern state. It was 88. We was victim of a scheme. It was all just a dream. Now my homie is a fiend. We live for the culture, but we kill for the cream, trying to make the street light up, stay on your toes, Billie Jean. It was hip to the hibbit, flow liquid like exhibit, here to create the culture with every breath as I live it. They try to prohibit, but I'm the master of the pivot, no gimmicks on point like a digit. I'm like Malcolm, ready to rock it. Get your hand out my pocket. Everybody the gatekeeper, but y'all forgot to lock it. Swear by culture freedom, but got more vice than Tubbs and Crockett. Now my boy Elroy out the space like Spacely Sprockets. Truth be told, we was crushed from the cold. Niggas getting high off the dust from Sugar Hill. Now the truth gets sold with strippers on the pole. The light just with rappers for the thrill. Getting a rush from off one pill when Flash was on the wheels. Singing white lines with my brothers and folding bills. Slinging white dimes when Uncle Joe wrote that bill around the same time, fucking around with Hillary and Bill. It was COINTEL. Now y'all go and tell. Hop on the gram. Look, show and tell. No ethics and no codes. Just cut the pie a la mode. Red Whitestone lights the block like a strobe. Behold, the pale horse as he rode. Here to bring death with guns to unload. Conspiracy to conspire, there's a theory on the wire when Cohen is a priest whose doctrine is the liar. Here to rob the hood, I keep it tucked like the friar. Grew into a man following rappers I admire. No more B-boys in the cypher, no more DJs catching breaks, and everybody in the trap with 45s wrapped in tape. The culture has been raped, pimped out, and straight slutted. Just like the Bronx in the 70s, everything gutted. Crusted, rusted, busted, and disgusted. We should have shut it down when Chuck said not to trust it.
Hey, that's what I'm talking about. Oh, my partner be like, don't clap because it shows your age. Like, ooh. I don't really know what to do, but all I want to say is, damn, that was dope. I'm no rapper, but I'm Madam Pezident with a Z. You can find me on IG, one Madam Pezident, y'all. You heard it here. Check my brother out. 24 Hours of Peace.
Yeah.
Inc.com. Inc. 24 Hours of Pink. 24 Hours of Peace. Inc.com, and you can find him on Instagram, Hakeem Green, and I'm one Madam President all over, Madam President with a Z. There may be a new Madam President come November. I'm not sure, but she does have my brother's vote. All right, y'all, we out.
Salute. Thank you so much.